Yemonja, 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 Bosa, beautiful, Yemonja, 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 Bosa, beautiful, Yemonja, 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 Baluba, Sako, beautiful, Yemonja, 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 Baluba, Sako, beautiful, Yemonja, 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 ile ariwa, koko. Yemonja, ile ariwa, koko. Yemonja, ile ariwa, koko. Yemonja, ile ariwa, koko. Yemonja, ile ariwa, koko.
Peace and blessings, family, and welcome to African Spiritual Conversations. We took a bit of a hiatus for like a week or so. Been traveling and adjusting to new school schedules and all that great stuff. But we are back up in the building. And today I wanted to start off with having this queen on here who wrote this book that is so incredible. So I am so thankful, so grateful that she agreed to join on here with us. And this is Sister, how do I pronounce your first name?
Ananda.
Ananda. Oh, that's beautiful. Ananda Free.
Yes.
And so she wrote this awesome, incredible book. And first, I just want to give you a little background on who she is. Now, y'all don't have my reading glasses on, but y'all understand. So Ananda Free is a visionary and artist whose sole purpose is to share and impart love to humanity through her various artistic modalities. Ananda uses multimedia, sculpture, and writing as portals to share her own growth and awareness in this life and invite others to join in the conversation on deep goodness. I like that. That still resides in our human spirit, along with how our most authentic and nurturing self still lives in the innocence and bliss of our inner child. As a mother to biological children, mentees, folks who need some nurturing throughout Ananda's life, she has been drawn to assist others in removing any gluttony. Am I saying that right? Gunky. Thank you. Film from their eyes and encourage them to be their most authentic and radiant selves. Ananda is a chief visionary artist of, what is this? Say that for me. Sweet
weirdness.
Sweet weirdness. I like that. Sweet nearness. Sweet weirdness that she likes loving, that she likes running with her husband. Say your husband's name.
Zakai.
His name is Zakai?
Mm-hmm.
The way it's spelled. My nephew who I watch all the time, his name is Zakai.
Really?
It's spelled differently. That's cool. Free. Ananda's most recent project is the release of Yay Sweet Waters and the Mean Mermaids. Wow. Sis, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So I am so excited. And when I tell you I'm excited, I'm so excited. What made you, that's just before we get into this book, tell me a little bit about your journey.
Oh, wow.
How did you even get here? Like, what's this?
I am the daughter of Deborah Ann Odebe and Isaac Odebe. My mom is from Holly Hill, South Carolina. And my father is from Edo State. It used to be Bendo State in Nigeria.
Oh, wow.
And I'm the oldest of three. In the last about 20 years of my life, I'm 42. So the last 20 years or so, maybe 22 years or so of my life, I've really been on this very impactful, very deep journey with spirit. And it really opened up after I released the I usually say ajogun, or the negative spirit of bulimia. So I'm a recovering bulimic. And once I gave that over to my higher power, it was like it just opened the floodgates to me learning, being guided to the first priests that I ever came upon were Lukumi priests, and there was a Yimoja priest and an Oshun priest, and they did a reading for me. This had to be back in 2002. And they told me that I was Oshun's daughter, and I was like, I didn't know really what that was. But I said, okay. And then in 2006, I met my first godmother, Yanifa Ifa Doyin, or Yeye Doyin of Baltimore, Maryland. And I was under her care and tutelage from 2006 until 2017. And so in between that time, I initiated to Yeye Oshun, or Yeye, and I'm a full priest of Yeye Oshun, and I'm an initiate of Mami Wata in West African Voodoo, and I'm an initiate Omo Awo Ifa in West African Orisha practice.
Okay, so hold on, slow down just a minute. Give me those initiations again.
Okay.
Mami Wata, I got
Mami
that.
Wata, yeah. Yeye Oshun and Ifa.
Wow. And what about Yemaya? Is that your head or no?
No, Yeye Oshun is my Orisha, and then my husband is initiated to Yemoja.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That's awesome.
So throughout that journey, like dealing with body dysmorphia issues, dealing with healing from sexual abuse, mental, emotional, physical abuse coming up. And just like when I came to this tradition, even though I had like certifications as a Reiki master, practitioner, have been taught how to do auric field surgery, certain healing modalities, I still was very wounded. It was like I knew how the doing, and I knew how to hone in on my spiritual gifts and abilities, because I was born a seer, a medium. Those things were not foreign to me, but the thing that was me really being connected to myself in a deep way, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so, hold on, the baby just walked in here.
Take your time.
Okay, let's go. Hold on 1 second, excuse me. Come on. No. Let's go.
So as you see, this sister got a lot of information to share with us.
Come get this child.
To interview her, and she also has this awesome book that we're going to be discussing. I like to know the background.
I want to interview.
I love to learn about the background, and so that we can dig deeper. And then, of course, I'm going to share her book, so that I hope that we will all go get the book. Okay, sis is back. Hold on, sis. Okay. All right. No worries.
So, all of those things, all of those journeys, and going deeper with myself brought me to Yeye Sweet Waters and the Me Mermaids. And in fact, that's my second book. My first book, which I actually, how spirit works is so amazing, because 2 weeks ago, I did not know I'd be sitting here with you. And so something came across my mind to order some more copies of my first book.
Wow.
So this is the first copy. This is the copy of my first book.
What's the
How
name?
to Make a Love Cake.
Oh, she froze. Sis, what's the name of your book?
How to Make a Love Cake.
How to Make a Love Cake.
Is it still frozen?
Nope, now you're unfrozen. You're good.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to talk about both of those books. So you just ordered more of those books?
Yes, you can. Is the link working? Can you see me?
Yeah, it just jumps a little bit, but I think.
Okay, that's what happened. So I'll send you the link for it. It's howtomakalovecake.com. It's not on my most recent website. And it's when a person orders it, it could be sent to them.
Oh.
Yeah. But if they wanted me to, I could always order the book and send it to them if they wanted it to be signed.
Okay. I'm definitely going to get one of those. I'm trying to go to the site now so that way I can share it.
Okay.
You see me on the side, it's because I'm doing some work that has to do with lipstick.
It's no worries. I'm here.
Oh, there it is. Okay, family. So I'm on the website right now. So I'm going to copy this and put this in the link so that people can also still reach out to you. So when you were talking about, like, you realized that you still were wounded and you needed to do some more healing work, what brought that about?
Oh, I think when I got to when I met my first godmother, Yanifa Ifadoyin, I actually went to her for a reading. Something guided me to go to her for a reading, and I went to her for a reading. When it came up in the reading that all the things that I didn't know, like about my ancestors, about my grandmother on my father's side, my father's mother, how she was Muslim when she was alive. I knew that. But what I didn't know was that she was the keeper of an Oshun shrine. And Ifa revealed that in the reading, that she was a keeper of the family Oshun shrine, but she worshipped Oshun in secret because my family on my father's side is Muslim. And in that reading, it was said that I was Oshun's child, and definitely that she was my mother, and that I needed her in my life. And I didn't know how much I needed her. I really did. And as time went on, and as I continued working with my godmother, getting spiritual bath, getting certain medicines and things done spiritually, old things started just sloughing off. And one of the main things was like deep anger, deep resentment, just things that I really needed to heal in order to become who I needed to become. And honestly, it doesn't end. I'm still becoming, if we're given the opportunity, we are always unfolding into our highest destiny. And by working with a qualified teacher, a qualified priest, healing, and also surrendering to the healing, right? So it wasn't just, I was working with her and getting readings. I was surrendering into who I needed to become, and letting go of those things that no longer serve me, which was not easy.
I know. Sis?
I'm here. Can you see me?
Okay. You were just frozen for a minute. So you said giving up the things that no longer serves you, which is really awesome. So that's really good. How did you decide that first of all, I just think this is so awesome that you have a direct linkage to Africa. Like, a lot of us have to do a lot of searching, because sometimes we make stuff be generic. Like, we're all so-and-so. And that's
right.
Good. I mean, I guess, but there's nothing like knowing direct linkages. Like, your father is from Nigeria. I mean, you talked about your grandmother and even what she was before they became Muslim.
Right.
That just makes sense to me. So with all of that information, first of all, before I get to that question, having a parent that was from another country, was that hard for you growing up?
Yeah.
What made that hard? I just always want to ask that question, because now we have a lot of people here from Africa.
The ignorance at the time when I was coming up of the Black culture here in America, because you're talking about over 30 years ago when I was a child. And so my first name is Fatima, right? My first name is Fatima. My last name is Odebe. And people really didn't even take the time to learn my name, to say my name. Little kids were kind of mean, like calling me, when they found out I was African, they'd be like, "Oh, you're an African booty scratcher." I mean, kids say all kinds of stuff, right? Right. But this time it was actually true, because my father was African. It wasn't just something to say.
Right.
And I would say that reconciling these dual cultures, in my life, reconciling the duality, which I couldn't reconcile. I was a child. When we're children, at least back then, we want to be like everybody else. because it feels odd to be left out. It doesn't feel comfortable. So I really resented being African for a long time until I got to my late teens, early 20s, and I started locking my hair. Like, this must be like my sixth set of locks. I mean, I've had, but when I've locked my hair for the first time, it's amazing, like that process, because I started becoming ravenous for things to read about African culture, African religion, and realizing that I had that in me in a direct, like you said, link to it. But my father, being the thing I think people don't understand is when most people have to come to this country and assimilate to this country, they have to assimilate to a certain kind of whiteness.
Mm-hmm.
They have to surrender into colonialization. And they have to walk a line so they're accepted by their peers, you know?
I know.
And so my father, he really didn't talk about African things like that. He really didn't, not that he didn't, he with us he did, but not deeply. And was still very private about how he was raised and the customs. And in fact, me practicing this tradition, Esheshe Yoruba, practicing West African Orisha tradition, it's actually linked my family back into traditional African practices. You know, my father's still Muslim. He doesn't really deal with it, but he sees how this has been a way to open up my life and assist my brother and my sister on their journeys as well, spiritually.
Right on. Wow. Okay, so hold on. We're being joined by another person. So hold on just for a minute. Hey, sis.
Hello. Good morning. Sorry I'm tired.
Good. I'm glad you joined us. Huh?
Sorry I'm late.
No, that's all right. I'm glad you joined us. This is Sister Ananda Free. Great information. The sister is a visionary, incredible visionary, but she's also an author, and she wrote a book called Yay Sweet Waters and the Mean Mermaid. So she's going to get into that, but she's also given us some history of herself, which I'm so fascinated by because her father is Nigerian. Her mother is from the South, correct?
South Carolina, yes.
South Carolina?
Holly Hill, South Carolina.
Holly Hill. Okay. Wow. Okay.
That's where your people are from.
Yeah. So I was like, whoa. Okay. So it's all good. So she was kind of giving some of the history of her background, and I was asking her. She's also initiated to Mami Wata, Oshun, Ifa, and her husband is initiated to Yemoja, correct?
Andy.
Yeah. So I was like, all right.
Okay.
But she's also talking about in her lineage, how she discovered in her reading that her grandmother, who was Muslim, correct?
Yes.
On her father's side, kept an Oshun shrine, correct?
Yes. That's what Ifa revealed. Yeah, my father didn't even know that. Yeah.
So, I'm excited to get this information.
Yeah.
Because I think these are some of those stories, because you have like the South, your mother being from the South, your father being from Nigeria, like that's powerful in itself.
Yes.
You know? And I was also asking her, what was that like being, having her name Fatima?
Fatima Odebe. Yeah, that's my birth name.
Like, what was that like? Where were y'all in DC or Maryland? Where?
Yeah, so I was born in Fairfax, Virginia, and was raised up until 14 in Alexandria, Virginia, and then Northern Virginia, and then 14 we moved to PG County, Maryland, Forestville, Capitol Heights, Suitland area, and that was a whole other experience because I came from coming from Alexandria, it was more international, bit more white body or people that are more European, to right outside on the border of Washington, D.C. back in the early 90s. And so going to school with all Black children, and that was worse for me than where I came from. Being teased from where I came from, because how I spoke was proper because of the school system that I went to. I didn't speak in slang. I wasn't identifying with like, how you say, like now you say like hip hop culture. I didn't necessarily identify with hip hop culture in that way. And I was odd. I was kind of odd. And so here I am coming from Northern Virginia and coming into PG County and being called the Oreo or being called, like, you know what I'm saying? It was like really, I was sharing this the other week. I was like, it was really kind of like, it was a culture shock
Yeah.
because that's not what I was acculturated to in Northern Virginia. And also, I was sharing this with my husband like a month ago. I said, it's so fascinating now that everybody wants to go to Ghana. Everybody wants to eat, gari. They want to eat pounded yam, fufu. They want to do all these things. They want to do all the Afro beat dances and carrying
Right.
on, but because it's trendy,
Right. I agree.
right? And I'm happy that our people are getting some shine on the continent. But is it really real? Are people really connecting to the deep culture and the deep ways of life that live there for them, that is there for them if they want it? And I know it takes steps, right?
Right.
I know that everything doesn't happen overnight. And I'm glad that our people are starting to identify, like, oh, this is ours too. This is ours as well. And also integrating, hey, we have a culture here. We have a culture here. Our ancestors are here. We have hip hop and jazz, R&B, all these. You understand what I'm saying? But there's a beautiful integration that's happening. That is beautiful. But my wish is that our folks recognize their inherent wealth and that we're not just from Africa or from here. This whole planet belongs to us.
Right on.
When it was a Pangea, we spread out across the land, across the world. And this whole world, I don't care, wherever you go, that's your home.
Right on. Right on.
You know what I mean? And that in this time, it's important for us to recognize this, because I was reading something the other day where the sister was saying, African Americans, you're not homeless. You do have a culture. And we have impacted every culture on every nation, on every land, all across this great globe. And that our conversation did not start with slavery. It didn't start with the Great Ma'afa. It was a huge, unfortunate, catastrophic event for our people. But that isn't our beginning. It's part of a continuation. And that if people really want to find out if it's their path, go get an Ifa reading, get an Akan reading, go to the South African shamans, you know what I'm saying, the Sangomas, you understand what I'm saying? Go to different places. And Ifa is not the only African traditional religion. There's hundreds of them.
Right on. Right on.
There's hundreds. There's so many. Even inside of Nigeria, there's I think it's like 100 or more subgroups.
Wow.
And just like my father is a Bendalite, even the people in Edo states, in Benin, Nigeria, they even have their own pantheon, their own religion, their own, you understand what I'm saying? It's not the same as Ifa, just that far, just that close, and it's that different.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry.
No, I love it, sis, because I think that that's part of the real conversation. I think that we're in such a special time, but we're also in a time that has been lived before. And I always think the trick is for the generation that's going through it is to study the past enough so that we can get further along on this journey. Because what I come to realize is that we know that there are spiritual traditions all over, like, African people are, that we're everywhere. But I think sometimes we get tripped up on the same stuff. If you go back in time, we'll be tripping over those same little quirks, like tribalism, like set tripping, like all those little isms that make us divided, which makes it easier for your enemies to come in and conquer you without sometimes firing a shot. Because I seen this film called 1897. I'm getting the year wrong, but it's something like 1883 or whatever. And it was about Benin and how how the Europeans came in and used trickery in terms of dividing people by what they thought of each other, or greed. Like, I want to be over what you have, but it's not my turn yet. But if I help them, maybe it'll be my turn. To me, those are real simple things that even though we're very powerful, we still trip over those small things.
Yeah.
So how do we recognize each other's differences and still see the unification of it? You know what I mean? I feel like that is such a tricky thing sometimes, because though it seems very simple, it's so complicated on so many different ways. Like, for instance, even in slavery, when people was doing church, my people are from South Carolina. My grandmothers were enslaved in Fairfax County, Virginia. So I know a lot about Fairfax. They walked off the Parks Plantation in Fairfax County, Virginia. Virginia has a lot of breeding forms. That's why a lot of people are not just one thing, because they breeded people there to get like this superhuman kind of thing so you could work all day, and take a lot of stuff. But I also think even in the midst of all of that, we still figured out a way to worship the way we worship. That's why you can't go to a holiness church and you just don't be singing Christian songs without you jumping up and down and doing what you got to do, because that is your Africanism coming through in the midst of a lot of oppression. You know what I'm saying? And so I can always see Africa, no matter how, been to Brazil, no matter how we do it, it's still there, because as much as you try to erase us, all you did was make certain parts of us stronger. So
absolutely.
when it come out, that African will bust out of there. Like, you can't even stop it. Like, what just happened here? I always tell people, one time I was at a church in the Bay, East Bay Church of Religious Science. Melva Moore was visiting because she was working with somebody in the church on a production in Frisco. So she came to church that Sunday. And when I tell you, when she sang, I can't even remember what song it was, but something by Mahalia Jackson, because when she hit a certain note, when I tell you that all the Black people in the church stood on their feet and started waving her, and it was like, it's all kind of people in church, Indians, white people, they was looking at like, what's happening here? But something spoke to Black people when she hit that note. We just all jumped our feet and started waving. People can't explain that. Nobody else did that. Because we felt something. And so I just believe that we still have this way of communicating with each other, because that bond is stronger than we think. I just think sometimes we trip over the physical and how we are made to feel sometimes. Because I know sometimes I've been around Africa, I'm around a lot of Africans. When they start, yesterday I was with some Africans from Ghana. They talk about how many languages they spoke. And then some of them started switching the languages, talking. And I was excited. I was feeling some way like, damn, I only know like 3-4 words over here.
Right.
But how beautiful that was, though.
Yeah.
So sometimes you be in this feeling like, man, we've lost that. But I'm convinced you can always reclaim it, because it really never left you the way you think it did.
It's never. I mean, it's in your DNA. Like, I was talking to someone a couple weeks ago. I said, it's interesting when we talk about our egun, we talk about our ancestors, right? We think about your grandma, think about your great grandma, great granddad, things like that. Most people don't even start to think about, oh, well, my grandfather's or my great grandfather's mother's father. That's a whole other branch to go on in the whole other direction. Like, when you can go back to your mitochondrial, I think I pronounced that right, DNA, right? That takes us back to the beginning. And if people actually focused on going back to the beginning, it actually erases all that division, because we all started from the same place. It's just different roots. It's like, when you call me your sister, and I appreciate that, because you're my sister. Ifa Modupwe, you're my sister. And so when we claim one another, if we're really coming from the purest place in our spirit, in our hearts, I can't hurt you, because to hurt you would be to hurt myself. Right. To kill you would be to kill myself. To slander you would be to slander myself. And so when we take it to a deeper place, whereas we all belong to each other, that's a powerful shift.
And one of the ways that we get to access that deeper place is by not hurting ourselves.
Yes.
And not slandering ourselves, and not belittling ourselves, and not doing things that go against the grain of our own being. And recognizing that even within our sameness, we have uniqueness. It's not to say like, you shouldn't take your differences between the people that you love and make yourself special. You should just like you should nurture and grow that, right? So I have a gift, you have a gift. Let's grow our gifts, and then when we bring them together, every time we bring them together, we form a stronger bond. We have a stronger pool of genius to work from. And so the thing that we don't show up for ourselves in the way that we don't do the work, the inside jobs, right? It's very difficult for us to carve out the space for us to do the inside job. And there's nothing there. I'm not gonna say there's nothing. There are very few things in existence that support that, right? The support for it is inconsistent and uneven. When we're able to find a space where we can be supported in that and really do the self-examination that it takes in order to till the soil of your interior landscape, to really show up as who you are, to really give your gifts and your challenges the attention that they need to heal and grow, then that's when you're in a space where you can reclaim the past. Like you can't, everything that you learn is contextualized by you. You're the clearing for it. So the thing about us going back and learning what has happened and not repeating those mistakes depends on whether or not we were able to evolve in the meantime, right? Not to collect a bunch of facts, but really begin to activate the intelligence that's within us. And that is the importance. One of the things that I have found ritual to do. So whatever, whatever spiritual discipline you subscribe to, it's one of the things that I've really found that ritual does is help to move you away from the space of using something outside of you as the context for information that you get, and just taking other people's word for things and beginning to use your own internal intelligence, right? The DNA, your Egun, your ancestor, your Egbe, your however your spirit genetics, how you're made up, and all of the continuum that you have access to. You have to have somewhere to put that, and you're the somewhere. So that's the importance of us getting like spiritually cleaned up, because we are the somewhere. We have our little piece of God and we're carrying it around. Now, whether or not we activate that and get to share that with the world depends on how well we're able to take what comes to us and use it appropriately for us. Not the person standing next, like they say, church, not your neighbor. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have this thing where we I'll say it's common. I see a lot of Black people suffer from trying to mimic something that they think is great, and so we get these trends among us that just run rampant, right? And so right now I think the trend might be working in our favor, that people are kind of interested in things from the continent. They're eating the food, because I think that it stands to put you in a position where it may spark something. It might spark some ancestral memory. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like we're always negatively triggered. Maybe we can be positively triggered into a space where we really get excited about, well, maybe there's something before. Because I can say that that's what happened to me as a very young person. Like as a even preteen teenagers, I was just like wandering around like, wait a minute, there got to be something before Christianity, because there's a lot of people who don't read the languages that the Bible was translated into. Come on, you got to tell them, like, okay, well, if Africa is the beginning, then okay, it's there. And then that means we got it. So let me find it, and that's what set me on my journey.
Right on. So sis, because I'm definitely gonna get to your books. How did you decide to be initiated to Mami Walter, and particularly Mami Walter? Because Oshun, I know some Oshun people, some Ifa, but Mami Walter, how did you do that?
Yeah, I'm interested in that too.
Yeah, none of them were ever a decision for me. I'll say, to be honest, like it was like, well, we all have to make choice, right? but I wasn't looking for her. I wasn't looking for her. I didn't. And in fact, it was like 4 weeks before we were getting ready to go to Nigeria to initiate the Ifa. Oshun had been calling me to her shrine this particular morning. And I went down and she told me, she said, when you go to, I was divining to her. And she said, when you go home, when you go to Benin, there's something you're going to receive. And I said, oh, is it another shrine? And she said, yeah, kind of. And I was like, well, is it Oya? Because I'm close to Oya. She was like, no. I said, is it Orisha? She said, no. I said, well, then what is it? You know? And I heard a voodoo. I said, is it a voodoo shrine? And she said, yes. And I started hearing Mami Wata, Mami Wata. I said, is it Mami Wata? And when I went to go cast, it was the OB that I threw at that time, it hit the table so hard. And that night, actually, when my mate came home, I told him about it. And the interesting thing was, for about a year, Mami Wata had been around me, but I didn't know it was her. I would get really hot. I would smell like perfumey kind of smells, and I don't wear perfume. And Oshun doesn't in West African tradition, she doesn't take perfume that I know of. So I would be like, what is this scent? But when I would go ask my Egun, I said, maybe it's my Egun. It wasn't them. I mean, I would literally feel like somebody put me in an oven. I would feel like hot, but like this dry heat. And it would make me like, what is this? Well, come to find out, it was Mami. And when I told my godmother, the next day I called her, because what happened that night was that I possessed her. Like, she came and I went, and my husband told me she was there, and she was talking for like an hour, just talking about like how she was with me, how long she had been with me. So in my particular circumstance, like I told you, my father is from Edo State, Nigeria. And Mami in the voodoo, from the little bit that I understand, you have to, it's like through your bloodline, right? So it was revealed to me that my father's people way, way back were Mami Wata people, you know, they practice voodoo, not just Orisha, but voodoo as well, far, far, far back. And she wanted to be reactivated into our family line. I will say this. Because people are usually looking for what's the most powerful, what's the most potent, what's the most fierce. And Mami is that, definitely. But she's not no Oshun by any stretch of the imagination.
Right on.
Her energy is very intense. She's loving, but she's very fierce. She does not, none of them play for real, but she does not play. And she does not suffer fools. And she just doesn't. And I had to initiate her because she wanted to be, oh, that's what I was going to say. She said she had been with me since I was born. It wasn't no new thing. She had been with me. But there were things that I had to endure, go through, become, before she would even allow herself to show herself to me, if that makes sense. There are deities that are out here. There are powers that are out here based on our own character. Because I definitely had some character issues when I was younger. Based on our own character, will they be like, you know, I think she's ready. I think it's time. And that's the only way I can explain it to you, you know? So a lot of times when I tell people I'm initiated, and the whole thing, being an initiative Mami is years and years. To become a full priest takes a long time, a lot of training, all of it. And I only had one ceremony. I still got to go home and get more things done and learn, be under the tutelage of the teachers and stuff like this. You understand? But for me, did you say something?
No, I said right on. I was.
For me, it's a great honor, but I wasn't looking for her. And not that you said that, but I let people know I wasn't looking for her. And I will also say that whoever is for you, whatever deity is for a person, they will reveal themselves to you. People don't have to look for that. I find that happening. People are looking for deities. They're looking for the one that brings the money. They're looking for this to bring fame. They're looking for they will look, having a job, having children, having a family, having food in your refrigerator you can go to freely and go get whatever you want, having a roof over your head. Our people get to really understand that is wealth. That is being rich. Like being able to give somebody $5 here and it's not going to be a hardship for you. That is wealth. Sowing into your community, sowing into your family, because our family as priests are our first ministry. They're our family. And most people want to go to the Orisha, go to the Vodun, go to everybody else except for their Egun. Because there's so many other things. People are mad. They're mad at the familial curses. They're mad about why did this person leave? Why did this happen? Why is alcoholism here, drug abuse? Why is my family fragmented? Well, then you have to go to where it started. You got to go to the well Egun, call them in so the other ones can be uplifted, so you can be uplifted in doing your journey here on this planet. Because the Orisha themselves will tell you, that's a one time I tell you, I was feeling away. I wasn't feeling myself. I went to Yaya Ashun. I said, Yaya, what's going on? She said, go talk to your people. This is like 5-6 years. She said, go talk to your people. She said, that's not my jurisdiction. They will tell you that don't have nothing to do with me. Go talk to your people. Go take care of your Ori. Take care of your own spirit. Take care of yourself. Our Egun and our Ori, we're born with those shrines. The ones that were born with, people don't want to take care of those ones. They want the stuff that looks sexy and all this other carrying on. No, like Ashun, she's great. Oya, Mami Wata, Olokun, Orisha Ajay, Baba Ogun, Baba Shango, Obatala, Egbe. They all have a jurisdiction. They all have a way in which they work with us if it is for them to work with us. So Mami has been amazing. It's been beautiful to get to know her. Yeah. And when I got home, I went through those rites and stuff like that, and I came back, and people didn't believe, because Mami initiates it's not something that you come across every day here. So it's a very mysterious and secret kind of society. So, Sula.
Yes, I know her.
Yeah, that's when I moved here. I met Sula moons ago, back in 2003, and when we moved here back in last October, the spirits kept telling me to call her. And I hadn't really been in contact with her in a long time. But when I went to her house, because she's initiated to Mami Wata.
Yeah.
And so I went to her house and we started talking, and I brought up Mami, and she about fell out. She said, there's not a lot of us. She was like, oh my God. Like, it was this amazing. And even in that sisterhood of being, initiates of Mami, or she's a priest, I'm an initiate. It's like, you don't feel crazy.
Right.
Because Mami has a certain way that she works, and it's a whole pantheon. It's Mami Wata, and then a whole pantheon of other water spirits, which interestingly enough still correlates with Hindu practices in the Hindu system and Hindu gods and goddesses. I know. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm sorry, I probably.
No. And Sula is all in her artwork. I mean, I've known Sula for like at least 15, maybe 20 years.
Yo, she was so excited when I told her. I was like, yeah, I'm speaking to Roland. She said, that's my sister.
Yeah, I love her. And I've gotten several readings from her.
She's amazing.
She's incredible. New Orleans is just a special place.
It is.
New Who else can go to Congo Square on a Sunday and do what they do? Come on now. That's New Orleans.
Yes.
It's a special place. I think it's just a special place, particularly for Africans. I mean, like the way that they sustain culture and how connected they are to it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But that's saying that Mommy Walton was like, wow. Because you
really
see that a lot, honestly.
She's amazing.
You know?
And she's very deep, very mysterious, very she mean what she say. I mean, they all do, but I remember one time talking to her and I said, "Do you love me?" She was like, "Yeah, I love you." I said, "Is your love unconditional?" She told me, this was my experience. She was like, "No, it's not. It's conditional." It's very much like, listen, you're my child. You do what I ask you to do. If you don't do what I say, there are consequences for that. There are, not necessarily mean like you'll die or something, but like, you know, she's like, I won't be pleased.
I know. So sis, look, we could go on for days. I do not want to forget to go over this book.
Yes, please, thank you.
How did you get the vision for Yeye Sweetwaters and the Mean Mermaids?
It came to me a little over a year ago. I was in my kitchen washing dishes and I heard Yeye Sweetwaters, and I actually saw in my mind like a doll or something, right? And then I was like, but what is it? What is it? And then several days later, I got the download for the book. I wrote the book in about a week, like 7 days, something like this. And as it was coming to me, I realized one thing, that I have we have a son and 2 daughters, but the 2 daughters needed to see themselves in lore and in fantasy and in our culture in a real way. And so Yeye Sweetwaters is actually like the caricature illustration of my first oldest daughter, and her friend Puff Puff, the fairy that you see. That's kind of like the likeness of our youngest daughter. And so Yeye Sweetwaters and the Mean Mermaids takes place in ancient Yoruba lands, and they actually live in like an underground river. So there's a big river that's flowing, and if you go back behind the rocks behind the river and walk through, you'll find a cave. You go through the path, go down the cave in a boat, and you'll land in Ile Aladun, the city of sweetness. Ilu Aladun, city of sweetness. And so Yeye Sweetwaters is the presiding elder, if you will. And so this particular story is about Omitola, who is this mermaid from the Big Mami Watas, from the Big Mama Waters. And she's been there for a while, but on a particular day, she finds out that while she's playing with her friends, she finds out on this particular day that her friends, they decide to freeze her out. They ice her out. And they start making fun of her, bullying her about her tail, and telling her that she thinks she's all that and all this other stuff, you know? Yeah. And so Yeye Sweetwaters comes across her, very upset, very distraught, and they have this conversation, and really Yeye Sweetwaters pours into her. She pours into her and really reminds her of who she is. And then they go on about the day, and they're having this really great time, and they come across the Mean Mermaids, and Yeye Sweetwaters is able to get to the bottom of it without even being like probing. You know, they end up revealing themselves, and Yeye Sweetwaters is able to hold the container for healing for all of the mermaids, so they can see how in sisterhood you take care of your sister. And they had to get to it themselves. She wasn't telling them what to do. They got to it. They got to where they basically were not integrity with their own selves, and how them not standing in integrity with themselves led them to hurting their sister. And it really comes back to how community is a container. If people allows it, it's a container for beautiful, deep restorative healing for all. And there's songs and affirmations in the book. Let me show you. So this is the book, Yaya Sweetwaters and the Mean Mermaids. And this that's Yaya Sweetwaters. And that's her boat called Wonderful. And it just has some amazing illustrations. And so here's Omitola, that's Yaya Sweetwaters finding her in the seaweed crying. And they were jealous because of her tail. She has this long, you see it? This long, beautiful, dazzling tail. And those were the other mermaids. And that's what I wanted to say. Like, one of my favorite things about the story is see all of them. And you see the fat mermaid? That's what she's my favorite. She has a pot belly. You see her?
Yeah, that's cute though.
And they're all diverse. You have the mermaid with the red hair. You have one with locks and glasses. You have one with the Afro puffs. You have, of course, Omitola. She has curly hair. You have all these different images to show that we are diverse.
I know.
So if we're diverse, and our mermaids would be diverse, they wouldn't necessarily be really thin with long flowy hair. And you understand what I'm saying? That you're going to have all kinds of mermaids. You're going to have all kinds of things, right? So here in the back of the story is a glossary. Back of the book, there's a glossary and a map of ancient Yoruba land. The glossary for the Yoruba words and terms that are used in the story. There are affirmations. I'm going to say this to you, all right? And we can say it together. So when she's helping the main mermaid that was the antagonist come to terms, because she's like, oh my God, I really hurt my sister, da 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 da. And she says, Yaya Sweetwater said, she says, how do I do that, Yaya? How do I forgive myself? And she says, take your arms and hug yourself. And while you're hugging yourself, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love me who I was before, who I am now, and who I will become. There is no one, no thing else in this whole universe like me. I accept me, all of me, flaws and all. I am growing, I am living, and I am loving more fully myself each moment of each day. I treat others as I treat myself, and so it is. So that was like one of the amazing affirmations too in here. And I just want our children to have, our children that are chronologically children and the children at heart, to know that wherever you go, whatever community that you belong to, you bring yourself. And in us bringing ourselves, we have to do the integral inquiries around the things there that are gunky, like I said in my bio, gunky, heavy, yucky. And even at some point, if they weren't yucky, it might have just been things to survive. Bless those things and send them on their way so you can become truly who you are. And that's what this story is about, that these mermaids get to the bottom of, why am I feeling jealous? And if I was jealous, or if I'm not jealous, why did I allow myself to get pulled into this mess over here to hurt my sister? Why did I do that? And so people will automatically, I honestly think truly it's an illustrated short self-help book for adults, because I know plenty of adults who act out. Because we're still our little kids. We're still that. I don't care how many degrees we have. I don't care how many children we have. I don't care whatever we have going on. There's certain parts of us that are still having those tapes played from when we were 5, 6, 7, 8 years. The boardroom is crawling. The cities are being ran by people whose inner children have run amok.
That's real talk.
And so they get to reel themselves in and give themselves exactly what they need so they can hopefully be of deeper service and more authentic and genuine service. So yeah.
My sister, look, that was, first of all, the book. I can't wait for mine to come. I'm also I have like nieces and nephews who I want to have that book, and particularly some nieces that I really want them to be able to see themselves reflected in that unique way.
Absolutely,
that's who we are. We're unique people. So I love the way you wrote that out, and I love the affirmations. And I think it is so important for us to control our own image.
Yes,
because that's what's got us into some of this craziness, that we followed images that weren't meant for us.
Yes.
So I try to control us. But imagine, I know when I was growing up, I watched a lot of Black actresses on TV. And I would like to think that had a lot to do with how I'm wired. You know, like seeing Get Christy Love, that meant something to me. Cleopatra Jones, that meant, you know, like seeing actresses that look like me doing extraordinary stuff. So that's like a part of my own, you know, some of the things that really impacted how I moved, because I'm grateful I came up in the 70s where there started to be more images of Black people on TV, and particularly Black women.
Right.
And in a way which was cool. Like today you see images, but it's always images where we can't be ourselves.
Right.
Like we have to be connected to whiteness in a way where it says beautiful if you're smart, if you're this. So to see a book like that, and if you get those images when you're young, it will totally impact who you become, and you would have more self-esteem or self-worth in terms of yourself, that you don't have to find it when you're 50, or, you know, or just realizing like, wow, that event happened, that really impacted me. I didn't even realize that, you know.
Right.
I'm so grateful for this book, and especially in spirituality, I like the way that's woven in there.
Yes. Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, it's a universal book. People don't have to practice the tradition in order to get it. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why it came to me. And I want our children from all over to be able to read this and understand it, and their parents to read it and understand it, and not think they have to practice West African Orisha. Like, I don't have to be Christian to read something that T.D. Jakes put out.
Right on.
I don't have to. There's wisdom in all the cultures. There's wisdom in all the different, there's truth there. You know what I'm saying? And so I think sometimes people think, well, in order to listen to such and such, I have to practice such and such. You don't have to, you know?
I think if you're open and you see and you get the message, period.
Yes.
Because there's always just a message, but we like to dress it up with other stuff. Like my way, that's a dress up.
Can I give you the website for that too?
Yes, you know, I just shared it.
Oh, Sweet Weirdness?
Oh, no,
not yeah, that's fine.
Order the book. That's what I tell you. Order the book. Go to that and order the book.
And we're launching, my husband and I, we're launching Weird Wonders, which is a African-American toy line, next month in October.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. We got to also talk about that weird, say it again, Weird
Wonders.
Weird Wonders. Weird Wonders.
WYRDWONDERS.
That's awesome. Somebody said they getting mine. She getting hers. Right?
Oh, please. Thank you.
I said they make good Kwanzaa gifts, but get them now. Don't wait for Kwanzaa to come.
As we're speaking, I have 300 mermaid dolls on their way to my house.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's the rollout doll for our company. Yeah.
Some of those.
I'm like, so I have to send that to you when they get here.
Yes, please do. If I multiply, do you want to say anything? We got 3 minutes left. And when we get offline, when we go off, don't hang up just yet. I forgot you.
Okay.
What about you? It's just like an awesome story. It's just very powerful. I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. I'm gonna order it today for my nieces. I think the imagery and the conversation that it causes is very powerful. You know, it just gives people a chance to touch down on something that really belongs to us.
Yes.
You know, I think that's very powerful. It gives our children the opportunity to touch down on something that's their own, rather than trying to translate something into something that's or it's just the pictures and not the conversation, or it's just the conversation and the imagery is like, who is this person? You know what I mean? So that's all us.
Thank you.
Thank
you for that.
Thank you for putting that in the world.
Well, family, we've come to another end of African Spiritual Conversations. This is like incredible. I'm still blown away from all the information. So I'm so grateful. Sis, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
You're awesome. You're wonderfulness, the whole nine. So I'm so grateful. Family, we will be back on tomorrow, and we will definitely see you then. And if you haven't went and got it, please go get this sister's book and get them now. Order now for Kwanzaa. Just because. So we will see y'all tomorrow. All right, what we got?